So what all flora species are important? Here you can see this is important for the examination, for your upcoming prelims examination. These are beautiful, colorful flowers. They have been there in news. India's demand was that there should be some guidelines which should help farmers trade in the rosewood. There have been some export restrictions that have been there. The quantum restriction that only this much amount can be exported. They are one of the most valuable trees. Agarwood are one of the most valuable trees. The next in news is the Baobab trees. The temple board has said that they would not accept the offering of the oleander flowers. The cricket bat is made up of from Kashmir willow. There are many cricket fans, so you would know about this tree. Government, Andhra Pradesh Forest Department, they actually confirmed that this tree stores water. Araku coffee, a famous coffee that you should know about. Gurmar species has been there in news. The researchers have discovered anti-diabetic medicinal herb, Gurmar, Stellaria mcclintockiae. Hello everyone, welcome to PW Only IS English channel. I am Dimple Nankani, the faculty for Geography and Environment in the Titan batches for the English channel. So today the topic of discussion for us is we have to look at the species that have been there in the news, the flora. Fauna, we will come up with one more video for fauna, but right now we are looking at the species that have been in news for your UPSC examinations, which are important for the upcoming prelims. So what all flora species are important? Here you can see that this has been in news. You have Agarwood that has been in news, the redwood that has been in news, Neelakurinji flowers, beautiful, colorful flowers that have been there in news, a very, very strong, tall tree, Baobab tree that has been there in news. So these have been the flora that has been in news. This is important for the examination, for your upcoming prelims examination. There are many questions that come, for example, with respect to the fauna, flora in the examination. At least 2-3 questions from the environment can come. So here, let's start doing them. So for the first one is Neelakurinji. You can see these are beautiful, colorful flowers. They have been there in news because they have a very typical pattern of blossoming. It's about they blossom, they bloom every 12 years. So they are there in news almost every year and waiting for their blossoming, especially the tribal population. They calculate their age using the blossoming period of the Neelakurinji flowers. So they bloom every 12 years and they have been classified as vulnerable in the IUCN Red List. IUCN Red List that mentions about the flora, fauna. So they've been classified as vulnerable in the list. If I talk about Neelakurinji flowers, they have been identified in the 19th century and they are semiparous in nature. Semiparous means they reproduce only once. They'll reproduce once and then they'll die. So their lifespan is very, very short. They'll reproduce once and then they die. That is semiparous in nature. If I talk about, this has been named by the Kunti River, which flows through Kerala Silent Valley National Park. So in Kerala, there is a park, Silent Valley National Park, from which your Kunti River flows. And then they have been named after those river Neelakurinji flowers. Many times UPSC also asks question on which river passes through which national park. So Silent Valley National Parks, you have Kunti River that is passing through it. We have already know that the status is vulnerable. It grows up to the height of 30 centimeter, 60 centimeter, not very, very tall. So they are not very tall, 30 centimeter, 60 centimeter. That's the actual height of the flowers, and it is found at a higher altitude at 1300 meters to 4000 meters. So they are found at a higher altitude. Can you see the blue color the hill has? The blue color, this is because of the flowers Neelakurinji. Neel means blue. Okay, Neelakurinji flowers, and because of these flowers you also get the blue look for the mountain, and therefore you call us what? Neelagiri. Neel means blue, Giri means mountains. So Neelagiri mountains, the Kurinji ones abundantly glow in the Neelgiri mountains, and hence therefore the Neelgiri mountains are also called as blue mountains. They're also called as the blue mountains. We know that Neelgiri mountains, Neelgiri hills, they span across the 3 states. It is Kerala, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. So it is along the Kerala, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu that you have the Neelgiri hills, and therefore Neelakurinji also grows along these states. It will grow around Kerala, it will grow around Tamil Nadu, it grows along your Karnataka region because it is the place where Neelgiri hills are. So even the flowers are at Kerala, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. The special areas that where do you see these flowers? In the Shola forest. The Shola forest, Sulai, Shola, the word is derived from the name Sulai. So Sulai trees, Sulai forest, they are basically a temperate. They are temperate forest, that is at a higher altitude in the temperate region. They are found. They are broad leaved. They are broad leaved. They don't have small leaves. They have broad leaf. You can see these are your Shola forest. Shola forest at an altitude, at a higher altitude, and temperate broadleaf forest. So they are seen in Kerala along the Shola forest. They are also seen along Eraviculum National Park in Kerala. So in Kerala they are seen along Shola forest, they are seen along Eraviculum National Park, they are seen along Chevroy Hills in the Tamil Nadu. In the Tamil Nadu, where do you find them? You find them at the Chevroy Hills. You'll also find them at Bellary district in Karnataka. So where do you find them? You find them at Neelagiri. You find them at Neelagiri. Where in the Neelagiri? You find them at Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Where in Kerala? Sholai forest, Sulai forest. Where in, also in Eraviculum National Park. Where in the Tamil Nadu? In the Chevroy Hills and also in the state of Karnataka. Now, the blooming of Neelakurinji is so much significant that there was a stamp that was dedicated to these Neelakurinji flowers by Kerala government. So the in 2006, which is also called as the year of Neelakurinji, Kerala government released a stamp, okay, holding the declaration. 2006 has been declared as the year of Neelakurinji, and a stamp has also been released in its memory. So this is about your Neelakurinji flowers. Now moving on, the second thing that has been there in news is the rosewood tree. Can you see the red color? The rosewood trees. Now what has happened? This has been actually at the international level, rosewood has been talked about. What has been the talks? In the cities, the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species. So endangered species के लिए जो convention है, the Convention for the Endangered Species, to prevent the illegal trade of the endangered species, there is this convention called as Convention to Prevent Illegal Trade in the Endangered Species. So in that convention, rosewood has been mentioned. Okay, there are various appendix of this convention. So rosewood is mentioned in appendix 2 of this convention. Now, to prevent the illegal trade, there have been some restrictions that have been put for this rosewood, and Indian government has also done some role, played some role. So let's see about it. So there was a meeting of cities. For every convention there are meeting. So there was this 27th party meetings. There was 27 meeting on the plants committee. Under cities you will have both. You will have animal committee, because they are also traded. You'll also have plant committee. So the 27th meeting of the plant committee of cities talked about the rosewood. They said that there was this meeting that involved the sustainable harvest and trade of the rosewood species on India's demand. So India said that India's demand was that there should be some guidelines which should help farmers trade in the rosewood. So what was that? There were some guidelines issued for the members of the cities which are involved in the trade of the rosewood, and these guidelines were issued. India had already requested something. Now, the report on the conservation of trade, there's a report on the conservation and trade of cities, listed rosewood tree species, in its list. Okay, so let us look what is there. So basically the rosewood has been traded among the countries. Where is this species native to? This species is native to India. You can see green color. This green color means native. Green color here means it is a native. It is native to India. It is native to Southeast Asia. It is also native to some parts of Central Asia. So it is native to this belt, the Southeast Asia and India. This is native to. It has been introduced from the native place. It has been introduced where it is blue color. Wherever it is blue color, it has been introduced. It has been introduced to Africa. It has been introduced to the Russian side. It has also been introduced to the Brazil region. This has been introduced. So blue color here means it has been introduced in these parts. And this tree is also considered as invasive. Invasive means red color in USA, It is also considered as invasive in Australia. So these are the places where the tree has been native to, has been introduced, or is an invasive species. These are the member countries which actually trade in your rosewood. So now what does the report say? The CITES report that was there, the CITES report included the location of the existing rosewood. They said that, okay, these are the places where the rosewood are, and they will help the range countries. These are the range countries: India, Africa, Brazil. These are the range countries. They will help the range countries in effective data collection, and that will help in regulation of the trade. So with this species in news, because the CITES mentioned about it. What did CITES says? That we will collect the data of the range countries, we will see that how much of it is being traded, and we will also help the range countries in their regulation, in the regulation of the trade. We know that this is listed in the appendix 2. The rosewood is listed in the appendix 2. There are 3 appendix of CITES. So there are 3 appendix of CITES. It is listed in the appendix 2. It is listed in the appendix 2 of the species. What does that mean? The appendix 2 means that the trade, if you do trade, it will not immediately threaten the plant, but it could be at risk. So there's not immediate threatening, but there could be some risk if the trade is not regulated. So the species you cannot go for infinite trade, because then that will be at the risk. Therefore it is mentioned in appendix 2. So it is. Now the CITES have also helped the countries, range countries, to collect the data. So this has been there in news, and this is what India's demand was also there, that there should be some sustainable harvest and the trade. If I talk about the rosewood, this is the rosewood. The rosewood is basically a commercial, it's a commercial name, it's a commercial term for timber. And what does the species includes? It all includes a range of the tropical hardwoods. Okay, we have already seen the distribution. It's a hardwood tree. It is there in Southeast Asia, Papua New Guinea, Brazil, Africa, Indonesia. We've seen that. So it is basically a hardwood tree ranging in Southeast Asia, Africa, and various other places. If I talk about, this is a tropical hardwood tree. Now if I talk about especially the Indian rosewood, there are 2 types of Indian rosewood. One is the East Indian rosewood on the eastern side of India, and the other is the North Indian rosewood. So the eastern side of India, you call it as, this is reddish brownish in color, the eastern side, and on the northern side you call that as shisham. We might have heard the term shisham. So on the northern side it's a shisham, on the eastern side it is red color, brownish color, tropical hardwood tree. If I go for the scientific name, it is Dalbergia latifolia on the eastern side. On the eastern side you have Dalbergia latifolia. On the northern side you have Dalbergia sisu. So sisu is on the northern side, whereas the latifolia is on the eastern side. So on the eastern side, reddish brownish color, Dalbergia latifolia. It is also called as beetle. It is also called as sisal. Okay, it is growing on a low elevation, not at a very high elevation, and these are monsoon forest because these are tropical hardwood species. If I talk about the northern India, Dalbergia sisu, it is also hardwood. It is growing, it is also deciduous like monsoon forest, and it is growing at the foothills of Himalayas. It is growing at a foothills of Himalayas. They have leathery leaves, they have pinkish flowers, and they are growing at a low elevation, at 15 to 25 meter elevation it is growing. So both of them are low elevation. One is at the Himalayas, one is on the eastern side. Both of them are tropical hardwood species. They are monsoonal forest. This is about the Indian rosewood. This is what we've seen about the rosewood. Then we have also in news another species, that is agarwood. This is what you hear for whenever you hear the word perfumes, the incense sticks, agarbatti, you would have heard about agarwood. It grows in a very nice place in the northeastern region. It is famous for Meghalaya. So the distribution is majorly seen along the northeastern region. And now the Indian government played an important role for the trade of agarwood also. Now agarwood, there have been some export restrictions that have been there. The quantum restriction, that only this much amount can be exported, only this much amount can be made into chips, and this trade have been the quantity has been given by the international convention, but how much to regulate the trade, that has also been given by the Indian government. Let us see. The India has successfully prevented. India has prevented for the inclusion of agarwood species. Okay, in the review of the significant trade of cities. So in the cities, there are appendix we have seen. We will see them also. There's also a convention. There's also in the convention. There's also a term called as review of significant trade. There's an agreement that is about the review of the significant trade. And in the review of significant trade, if a species is put, then there are a lot of restriction on the trade. Now, Indian government has prevented the inclusion of agarwood. They said that agarwood would not be in the review of significant trade, because if agar would have been in that RST, then it would have prevented the trade to a great extent. But when India prevented its inclusion in RST, this means that now the trade can go on, and this will help the farmers from the northeast. This will also help in the development of the northeastern region. So India has prevented the inclusion in RST of the cities. But cities have set up some export quota. This is a very valuable agarwood, okay, for the high valuable agarwood. So there have been some quota, export quota, and about for what, that agarwood chips, the powder or the sawdust of the agarwood, and the agarwood oil. So you can the quota is about 1,51,000 kg per year of the sand dust that can be exported. About 7,000 kg of oil can be exported. So export quota has been put, but Indian government prevented the inclusion in the RST. Now, what is this RST or STR? I'm so sorry. The Significant Trade Review. What is this? What is the Significant Trade Review? This process is conducted by both the Animal Committee and the Plant Committee. It is Plant Committee can also put something in the Significant Trade Review process, or the Animal Committee can also put it into the Significant Trade Review process. The committee has the mandate to identify the Appendix 2 species. Some species which are mentioned in Appendix 2, they can identify them, and they can see if they are subjected to significant level of trade that are of immediate concerns. So if an Appendix 2 species is being traded and there is an immediate concern that is rising, then the plant or the animal is put into this Significant Trade Review process. What does this do? They will consult the range states, the city secretariat, and they will review that how much of the good has to be exported or not exported. And it is, if necessary, they can also give recommendation to the states, and they can also give some timelines to the state. Now, India has prevented it inclusion in the STR. The agarwood, therefore the cities eases the export of the agarwood from India. This will benefit lack of farmers. They will also, even the industry would receive the major boost. There would be more exports. Now, what is agarwood? Agarwood is a fragrant, this has got a lot of good smell, fragrant, dark color, resinous. Resinous means thick. It's a thick wood. You can see it here. It's a thick woodish, thick substance, dark color substance that has good fragrance. That is your agarwood. So this is thick, dark, fragrant wood. It is one of the most cultivated species in the northeastern India and also across the country, but especially in the northeastern India. It is famous for the incense, agarbatti. It is famous for perfumes. It is also has use in the medicines. Okay, they also have medicinal benefits such as anti-inflammatory properties, anti-diabetic. They are also antioxidant, anti-analgesic. So these also have some medicinal properties there. They are also called as the king of essence, and it is also used for treatment of the medical conditions. Agarwood. How is agarwood formed? This dark, thick substance. How is it formed? It is formed under the natural condition. It is formed in the heartwood of the tree. So this is the tree. In the middle you will find them. When they are infected, it does not form naturally unless and until it is infected by a mold. So when they are infected by a mold, that is some bacteria there, if it is infected by the bacteria, you can see it here, only then you will have to find them. They will basically causing the initial light colored scentless wood. It is not having scent at the initial place. If the mold affects it, the light wood, the scented wood, the light colored would turn into dark, dense, and the resinous saturated wood. So the light color wood, this is light colored, I can see, when infected by the mold, that will become dark colored, it will become thick, and this liquid and then is then used for the incense, for the other things. Not only can you produce, the agarwood is produced under natural condition, but it is also produced in the artificial conditions. So the artificial condition, they are produced through physical, chemical, biological methods. You can have mechanical methods by burning, you can have bacteria and fungi introduction, you can also have mixed technique, the biological technique, chemical techniques. So there are other methods also through which this can be produced. So the chemical methods, biological methods, artificial methods are also there. The practice is used, this artificial cultivation is used when the natural production is low or when it is absent. So this is about your agarwood. Let us continue with this one. This has been there in the northeast because they are one of the most valuable trees. Agarwood are one of the most valuable trees, and they are also found in the northeastern region. They help in medicines, they are used as fragrances. So the Ministry of Northeastern region, the Ministry for the Development of Northeastern region, can use it for the benefits of the farmers. There is also a in the northeast, there's also a Agarwood task force. This has been developed by Ministry of Northeastern region. They will help the support of agarwood in the northeastern region, and they will help in sustainable development of the tree as well as the successful export of the trees. So they have good potential for the trade, they have good potential for the export, and therefore a task force has also been created by the northeastern region. This is about the cities. You have 3 appendix in the cities. There is appendix 1 where it says, so there are 3 appendix: appendix 1, appendix 2, appendix 3. In the appendix 1, the commercial trade is strictly prohibited. You cannot trade, there will be no trade, it is strictly prohibited. If I talk about appendix 2, the trade is not prohibited, the commercial trade, non-commercial trade is allowed through the permits and certificates. So you can trade. It is prohibited. You cannot do trade. You can do this, but you need certificates. And something that is listed in the appendix 3, the commercial and the non-commercial trade is allowed, and it helps in, it complements the domestic measures for the trade. So there's not much restriction on the appendix 3. Appendix 1, full restricted, basically prohibited. Here if you have the certificate, and here it is the least concern. If you want to do trade, you do it. There's no international restriction as such. Okay? If I talk about these are the 3 appendix, agarwood has been mentioned in the appendix 2, but Indian government prevented its inclusion in the significant trade review process. So this was about your agarwood trees. The next in news is the baobab trees. Baobab trees, you can see a very tall species, a very tall tree. This is a deciduous forest. This is a deciduous tree. So the tall deciduous trees, this is being found on the islands of Madagascar. Why this has been there in news? Because a recent study told us the origin of the baobab. Okay, the tall species found on the islands of Madagascar. The trees are basically, they have a lot of different species. There are 8 distinct species. There is a genus Adansonia. It is belonging to the genus Adansonia, and there are various other species also. If I talk about the origin, because this has been there in news, according to DNA studies, the tree first arose on the island of Madagascar 21 million years ago. But then later on, the trees, the seeds were carried on the ocean currents to the Australia also, and to the mainland Africa. So if this is the African region, it was first originating in Madagascar, which is this, and later on through the ocean currents, it traveled to Africa, it also traveled to Australia. So this is about the baobab tree. This was the study, that how did they origin, how did they travel. If I talk about the baobabs, they are known for their great heights. They can extend sometime as high as 50 meter, and they have exceptional lifespan. They can go up to 2000 years. Okay? In India also we have some baobab trees along the Golconda Fort, 2 big fort along the Golconda Fort in the Andhra Pradesh, and it is believed to be as old as 400 years. So it is very old. Baobabs are very important for the environment also, because they are a keystone species. You know what is a keystone? The most important stone of a building, the keystone on which the entire building rests. So baobab is also a keystone species. It is a very important species for the protection of the environment. It provides food, shelters to a lot of animals. In return, they also help in pollination. They also help in the spread of the seeds. So a lot of animals depend on it. Pollination is there, water recycling is going on, flood control goes on. So it is a very important species for the entire ecosystem, called as the keystone. So the next in the list is the oleander flowers. Okay, now this has been there in news because the Kerala government has actually, there have been some temples which have been run by the temple boards. The temple board has said that they would not accept the offering of the oleander flowers. So the two Kerala government run temple boards, which are responsible for managing the 2,500 temples. So the temple boards which govern the so many temples, they have stopped using oleander flowers in their offerings. Okay, this, and why did they take this decision? Because a 24-year-old female died because of chewing of the oleander flowers. So what happens is, the flowers are given as offering, they are given to the devotees, then the devotees taking it as a prasad offering, they can eat it. So one female she died because of the chewing, and these oleander flowers have poisoning elements in them. They stop the functioning, they malfunctioning the working of the heart. So that is why they have been stopped now. So they are Neem oleander, commonly known as oleander, or rose bay is also known as arali, or Kannaveeram in Kerala. This is cultivated worldwide in tropical, subtropical and the temperate region. So it can be cultivated at many places. This have variety of flowers of various colors. They are basically used to strengthen and speed up the heart contraction. So strengthen heart contraction, speed the heart contraction. They have been used as in medicines. Now they are also known for drought tolerant feature. They can tolerate dry conditions. They actually, oleander can cause toxicity. This is caused by some elements such as cardiac glycosides, which include oleander digitoxygen, which actually affects heart muscle formation. So they have some toxicity element that causing that caused the death of the female there, and therefore the temples have stopped the offering. The temple boards have said that we will not take it as an offering. Now Kashmiri willows, the next is news is Kashmiri willows is quite famous. We know the cricket bats. The cricket bat is made up of from Kashmir willow. There are many cricket fans, so you would know about this tree. In recent years, the cricket bats have been made from Kashmir willow. They have got global attention, and they have also been used. The bats have been used in the international forums also, at the international games also. So you should know about the Kashmiri willow. It is grown in the Kashmir region, as the name suggests. It is a deciduous trees. So they shed their leaves in a dry season, and they can grow up to height of 30 meter, that is 98 feet. They can be very, very tall. So if I talk about what are the Kashmir willows, they have slender trunks. They are very slim trunks, slender trunks. They have narrow trunks. They have conical. They are conical. They have conical canopy, because in Kashmir there's snow. So to prevent the accumulation of the snow, the trees acquire a conical shape. This will not allow the snow to accumulate on the trees, and that will not put extra burden, heavy weight on the trees. Therefore, they have a conical canopy, typically taking 20-25 years. They take 25 years to reach the maturity, like females, like males, like us as humans. Okay? The trees, they thrive in the humid region, temperate climate, particularly along river banks. So they need some moisture there. Okay? They will survive along the wetlands. They will survive along the one that has good soil moisture along river bank. They actually have excellent growth because of their ability to efficiently convert solar radiation into chemical energy. So good photosynthesis abilities, and therefore they have good growth also if given sufficient moisture. The species, they have high rate of evapotranspiration. There's loss of moisture from the trees. There's greater evapotranspiration during the growing season. It is resilient to flooding, and they thrive in waterlogged soil with low oxygen level in the root zone. So they'll survive in the marshes, swampy areas, wetlands, river banks, good soil moisture. That's the ability of the tree. They'll have good evaporation rate, evapotranspiration rate during the growing season. So they need good amount of water also. They have conical canopy. They also have some, they can also, accumulate the toxic elements like the like filtration property of the tree. They can take toxic elements like cadmium. So this is also known, should be known to you, filtration properties. They are used for cricket bat industry, packaging cases, baskets, furniture. So they have a lot of application in fruit baskets as furnitures in the cricket bat. This is your Kashmir willows, and it has got good international significance now. Moving on to the next one, that is about your Indian laurel tree. The Indian laurel tree, the state of Andhra Pradesh government, Andhra Pradesh Forest Department, they actually confirm that this tree stores water. Like many tree, this tree also stores water along its trunks, and this knowledge was already known to a tribe, Konda Reddy tribe in the Andhra Pradesh. So you know what, the tribe population, they have a lot of knowledge, indigenous knowledge, and that can be utilized by the forest departments, by the commercial industries, because that is a rich repository. So one of the knowledge, one of the example was that this Konda Reddy tribe of Andhra Pradesh, they knew that the water is stored in the Indian laurel tree, and this was later confirmed by the forest department. The forest department, they cut the bark of the tree of Indian laurel tree in Papikonda National Park, which is there in Andhra Pradesh, and they tested its water storing ability based on the indigenous knowledge of the Konda Reddy tribe. So we got to know that yes, the tribe had already had the knowledge. If I talk about the Indian laurel tree, the species that has been used, they have a lot of names. You have Marutham, you have Matti, you have Ain. These are a lot of names. You have Asana in Sri Lanka. Basically, they are called as crocodile bark due to because they have a typical bark pattern, like the crocodile has the skin to it. So similar type of skin is seen in the bark of the tree, therefore it is also called as crocodile bark. It is also growing, it's a very tall tree, 30-meter tall it is. Okay, it has got good diameter also, so it's a good diameter, 1 meter diameter, 30-meter is the height. Okay, it is basically, it is fire resistant bark. Okay, it can give fruits. It also is, the bark is also fire resistant. It is native to the southeastern Asia, India, South Asia, southeastern Asia, India, Nepal, Myanmar, Thailand, China, Laos, Cambodia. So southeast and the Southeast India, as Southeast Asia as well as South Asia, the tree is native to this place. It is both a part of dry and moist deciduous forest in the southern India. So it's a deciduous forest, hardwood tree, monsoon forest, seen in South Asia, seen in Southeast Asia, huge trunk, huge height, and it can store water, which was told by the Konda Reddy tribe. You also find the trees in the Papikonda National Park. It has a crocodile bark. That is about the Indian laurel. Then we have next in news is coffee, Araku coffee. This type of question has been there in UPSC. They had asked about which of the places are known for coffee production, known for tea production. This was asked in 2023, I guess. Yes, 2023. They asked the places for coffee production, the places for tea production. So Araku coffee, a famous coffee that you should know about. Araku coffee is mentioned, this was mentioned in Prime Minister's Man Ki Baat. Okay, this coffee also has a GI tag. In 2019, they were given a GI tag highlighting its unique quality, its unique origin. The Araku coffee is cultivated in Andhra Pradesh, in Odisha. Yes, even in Andhra Pradesh and Odisha. Not only do you have coffee in Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, but also in Andhra Pradesh and Kerala, you have a coffee that is Araku coffee, specially grown in the eastern Ghats, the Araku Valley of the eastern Ghat. You can see the coffee tree that has been full blossom, tribal lady plucking up the fruit there. So what are the ideal conditions? You need hot days, you need cold nights, and combined with it, you need good fertile soil, you need good perfect environment for slow ripening. It ripes slowly, which gives it particular taste, which gives it particular aroma. So it is actually ripening slowly. They need hot sunny days, but cold nights, that is needed. The organic practices have been used by the local community for the Araku coffee. They use organic manure, they use green manure, they use organic pest management. So that is one of the famous thing about the Araku coffee that you should know about. The next one, Gurmar. Gurmar species has been there in news. The researchers have developed discovered anti-diabetic medicinal herb Gurmar. Okay, on a hill, that is Gaya Brahmoni hill. Okay, so Gurmar has been discovered. This has got a lot of anti-diabetic properties. We know that in India there's a lot of cardiovascular diseases that are coming up. You have obesity, there's diabetes, there are lifestyle diseases, heart related issues. So this plant, that is Gurmar, is a tropical plant, and that is indigenous to India along with Africa, Australia and China. So India, Australia, China, Africa, this tropical crop is indigenous to. It has medicinal properties. It has slow growing woody stem. It's a climber. It is a climber. It has a slow growing perennial woody climber. That you know about Gurmar. It is in Ayurveda. It is also called as Shringa or Gurmar, and is known for glucose balance. It tries to balance the glucose. It tries to reduce the blood sugar level. It also reduces the sugar in absorption in intestine. It helps in controlling the insulin levels, and it also promotes pancreatic cell growth. So lot of diabetes related thing, controlling the sugar level, controlling the insulin level, pancreatic growth cells. It gives rise, it enables them to grow. It also has an active acid. This is an active compound, that is gymnamic acid, that is acidic component that is got from the leaves. It has anti-obesity properties, anti-diabetic properties. This also helps in glucose absorption. So it is very important for controlling of the diabetes. Then we have the next one. This is your Stellaria mcclintockiae. That is a new plant species that has been seen, that has been Stellaria mcclintockiae, that was discovered in Kerala's hill, that is Neelakurinji hills. Okay, this was seen. This is a new plant that has been discovered in the honor of the Nobel laureate Barbara मैकक्लिंटॉक के नाम पे ही आपको ये नाम आया है, स्टेला मैकक्लिंटॉकियाe. This person, Barbara McClintock, had won the Nobel Prize in 1993 for discovery of jumping genes. So jumping genes were discovered, and this is the plant that has been discovered. Now, if this new species that has been discovered, it belongs to the genus Stellaria. They are small herbs. These species are small herbs, and they have simple opposite leaves. As you can see, they have opposite leaves. They have opposite leaves. So they have simple opposite leaves. Okay, they bear small flowers, very small flowers, white color, sepal, 5 sepal flowers. 1 2 3 4 5 is the 5 sepal flowers that you have, white with 5 white petals, and they are often can be divided, they all can be separate. It is this habitat of this plant is getting susceptible to the heavy grazing by the elephants, by the trampling and the grazing by the elephants. So this has been there in the news. In Kerala, you have elephant corridors, a lot of elephants are there. So this is the habitat is getting threatened. So you should know about it. You should have some idea about the plants as well. So this is what we have for today, the species that has been there in news. We will come up with more such videos on fauna, on the climate legislations and various other things related to environment. So stay tuned. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. Take care.